Hello everyone. How y'all doing tonight? My name is Guy Royse, and welcome to my stream. I am working tonight on the Evercraft Kata. I've been working on this for a bit, and if you're looking at my YouTube stuff, you're seeing it there as well. I've been taking the streams and uploading the VODs to YouTube for all the people. Hey, Chad, how's it going? Good to see you. So I'm working on the Evercraft Kata some more. I'm getting further and further into it. My quest to actually complete it someday. I've only been given this workshop with George Walters for 10 years, and I have yet to complete the Evercraft Kata, which makes me a terrible human being. And so in my quest to be a less terrible human being, I will never be a good human being, just less terrible. That's kind of true of all of us, isn't it? I'm trying to finish this exercise I created. And I've got pretty far along. I've gotten through all the requirements. If you're not familiar, the Evercraft Kata is a... code up the brains of Dungeons & Dragons. And since George and I put this together about 10 years ago, it's 3rd edition-ish. So it's kind of 3rd edition. It's got that kind of feel to it. But we got some core requirements for creating a character. I've gotten through all these. You got character alignments, hit points, and armor class. You can attack and stuff like that. We've gotten into classes, and I'm not done with classes yet. We've got fighters working. We've got rogues completely done. We've got monks completely done. At the end of the last stream, I had just started on Paladin. And so that's where we're going to pick up. But I had just finished this one bullet point right here, 8 hit points per level instead of 5. So, Paladins are a little tougher than a classless hero. And I noticed this +2 to attack and damage when attacking evil characters. And it was an echo of another thing, which is right here. A rogue ignores an opponent's dexterity modifier if positive to armor class when attacking. Now, I solved this here by having an attack class and have it be responsible for rules that affect multiple combatants. So if this combatant against this type of combatant is in the attack class, has a specific rule, put that in the attack class. But it felt like the wrong place to put it. And so I was noodling on that before I started streaming today. Before I started streaming... and before the tornado warning that was very exciting that we had about an hour ago. Always exciting to live in the Midwest, right? But I was noodling on that, and because I didn't really like the way I did that, and I was kind of lamenting the use of property. So let's look at my code here. This would be easier to show in code. So the way I've implemented this is I've got all these properties. So you can say, get your armor class. But the thing is your armor class, your effective armor class is going to vary depending on who's attacking you. If it's a rogue, your dexterity is going to be pulled out of there. And so I created this dexless armor class. But now I have attack modifier and attack damage, which are going to be for the paladin are going to be based off of are they attacking someone evil or not, and the crit damage will be different too. And I'm thinking these need to take parameters. So it's not armor class, it's armor class versus this particular target. And instead of having that be in a separate place over here in attack, I think it needs to be passed in as an argument. So when we request our armor class, we pass in who are we attacking to get that armor class. And I think that's a change that needs to happen. I think that'd be a lot cleaner because then all the rules for calculating armor class are in the armor class. See, here's the armor class. You can get the value, you get it minus dex. And so I sort of got some weird rules in here for that. But it'd be better, I think, if everything about how you compute armor class was in the class for armor class, because that's its single responsibility. So, but in order to do that, I can't use a getter. And I was talking last stream about how... I've worked on some other projects, and the getter can't have async await on them either. And I'm starting to become not a fan of these getter-setter properties in JavaScript because I can't pass it an argument now, so I need to refactor away from property. And if these were asynchronous, I don't have an async await in here because this is all just in memory. But it's sort of I keep running into scenarios where the property thing gets in the way. And one way that I've seen this done in the past, is I'll create like a function like this, where it's just like, name, and this is inside of a class, and then value. And then I'll say, if name is not undefined, then say, you know, this dot underscore name dot value equals name, and then return this dot, you know, that's that same thing, like this. I've been on a Windows machine all day, and now I'm not, and I keep questioning which keys I should be pressing. So then, so this basically ends up working like jQuery. Sorry to have brought up the J word, but it ends up looking like jQuery, and this becomes a real simple pattern then that you use to define to create getters, setters, and so then when you invoke it, it'd be this dot name, you know, Bob. Now we've set the name, but it also is going to return Bob. If you just want to get the name, you say, you know, let name equal this dot name, that. And if you want to get the name, you want to set the name and get it, you can do that. So it actually introduces a new capability. So I think I may need to change this to work that way. And so I'm going to start out with some of the other properties first. I'm not going to do name. I'm not going to do them all. But I think I want to modify armor class to have that passed in. And this one works particularly nicely because armor class is actually read-only. And so we, you know, there's no getter setter, so I don't even have to do the check to see if it's undefined or not. I can just use armor class. I may want to check and see if the value passed in is undefined or not, because if it's not defined, then I can just return it, and that would cause less of my tests to break, I guess. But so that's what I'm thinking, and that should make these sorts of scenarios a lot easier to handle. So let's take a look at getting our tests going up. That'd be a good place to start, wouldn't it? Let's see if they're all passing. I can't tell if they're all passing, but I don't see anything angry in red. It's all green. 10 suites passed. 144 tests. Excellent day. So let's bring up. There's hero armor class. There's hero. Let's bring up the armor class spec. Okay, and so here we say when the hero is a monk. But we don't have any rules here for when they're a rogue. So here, armor class defaults to 10. It includes a dexterity modifier, includes a dexterity penalty. And when they're a monk and they're wise, includes the wisdom modifier to their armor class, and then the zippy, sluggish monk. And if the monk's a bit foolish, then all the permutations. So we're going through most of the permutations here. But no mention of that because it's in attack spec. And here we have a attack. The attack class, let's bring the attack class up, takes an attacker and a defender in the constructor, and then a resolve, which takes the roll that's rolled. And we will determine if that's a hit, determine if that's a crit. We will apply damage and apply experience. And the is hit is attack modifier and defender armor class. And here is our rule. If this dot attacker dot class is rogue, then this dot defender dexless armor class. And I want to get rid of this. I want to make this work. Well, I don't want to get rid of it. I want to make it work more differenter. Más diferente. Yeah. And get rid of this dexless armor class because I think it's kind of ugly. So let's start with the hero, and let's start with the hero armor class, and let's start with the hero armor class spec. Let's look at these two first. So we've got here this test describes the armor class. It defaults to 10, includes dex both ways. When it's a monk, okay, so what we have here is when it's a monk, this is the armor class. This is interesting, actually, because we have the monk rogue interaction. So when a rogue attacks a monk, does the monk lose its wisdom bonus in addition to its dexterity bonus? It's not really clear in the requirements, but since I wrote them, I can make an executive decision. And my executive decision is going to be that the wisdom is always there, even if the dex isn't. So, although I don't think that's how 3rd edition worked. I think if you lost your dex bonus, you lost your wisdom bonus as well. Although that would make rogues really, really effective against monks in 3rd edition, which would seem a little imbalanced. So maybe that wasn't what the rule was. I guess I could get my 3rd edition books out and look. They're just right behind me. Anyhow, and I'm also not really liking how these tests are laid out. A lot of my tests I've been moving over towards this. If we look at like hit points, I do the it each, and so I think I want to do that to this test before I do anything else, because that'll make writing the next test easier. And since all my tests are passing, that makes it a good time to make a change to your tests. So let's do that. So hero armor class spec. And so what are the things we're permuting here? We've got class, if I'm a monk or not. You've got who the attacker is, if they're a rogue or not. So attacker class, defender class, wisdom, and dexterity. That seems like the things, right? So let's try that. Let's see what this looks like. It, and what's that syntax again? It each, and we'll just copy that over. It itch, itch. There we go. Defaults to 10, and then we need to provide it. This would be the attacker class, and we can actually do this wonderful trick that I learned, where we can default these all out as well, so we can just store the exceptions. Where is an example of me doing that? Might be in, maybe it's an attack modifier. No, it's not there. I'm pretty sure it's in a spec. Ah, thunder. Thunderbolts and lightning, very, very frightening. Here we go, defaults. That's how you do it. And then you say ... defaults, and then it picks them up. So we can do that up here. So let defaults equals attacker class. And that's none. And then defender class. And that'll be none. Both classless. And then it'll be dex of, whatever the dex is. We'll default that to 10. And then wisdom, we'll default that to 10. And then we got the actual expected value. Yeah, that'll work. And then we can say ... defaults, like that. Square bracket. And square bracket. I'm just totally cribbing off myself here. And then we got this little pattern here. Not Control C, Command C. Not on a Windows machine, guy. You're not on a Windows machine. So that puts so what this does is it each loops through this array of arrays, and for each array element, each array within the array, it shoves them in the arguments of the it. And I am saying the second one here is an object, because I just think that makes it easier. And so here we're saying it defaults to 10. So this first string in the array here will get substitute for %s, and then and it's underscore, so it's just that thing there. And then data, underscore and data are then passed in. Underscore is the first element, that string there. I don't care about it. And data is this bit here. And so I can say I can say subject dot, this would be, the subject is the defender. And we want to make their class equal to data dot defender class. Okay. And then we can say expect subject dot armor class to be pen, to be data dot AC, like that. See if those pass. Excellent. We got one extra test and it passes. So our little simple thing here works, but we need to actually set the other things as well. So we need to say subject dot dex dot score equals data dot dex, and I think this is dot dexterity dot score, and let's say subject dot wisdom score is equal to whiz, and save that, and that fails. Why does that fail? Can I read property dexterity of undefined? Oh, that's because I made a syntactical type error there. There we go. It is really storming out there. You know, when I can hear the storm over my headphones, it's particularly loud. So those are all passy. That's a good thing. Let's go ahead and get rid of that test then. Because what we're going to end up doing here eventually is then this armor class is going to get passed in an argument, and it's going to stop being a property. But we're not there yet. I'm just refactoring these tests. So defaults to 10. And here we've got, we can take this particular test up. What's going to happen is in the middle of the stream, the power is just going to go boom, and it's going to be dramatic. Well, actually, it'll just be all of a sudden Guy's not there. And everybody will be like, what the hell happened? And I'll be like, the power's out and I can't tell anyone. Okay, let's scoot that down a bit. Defaults. When hero is zippy, need a comma there. And then for here, we're expecting, we give him a dexterity of 14, and we're expecting the AC of 12, I think is the correct answer there. Yep, that's correct. And so we're just going to go through and convert all these. If this is the point where if I was doing a YouTube video, I'd jump ahead, right? When the hero is sluggish, so we got slowpoke here. Can you guys hear the rain? I'm just curious. I'm hearing the rain pitter-pattering on the roof. When the hero is sluggish there. And here they've got a dexterity of 6. Again, you need another comma there. I'm just going to put a comma there so I stop forgetting to copy it. And so that results in a -2 bonus. And so that gets them an armor class of 8. Excellent. Okay, so now when they're a monk, so when hero is a wise old monk, I suppose you get wise young monks too. So we'll set their wisdom to 14, and we'll leave their dexterity defaulted. And we're going to expect an armor class of 12. And when they're zippy or sluggish, so let's copy those down. So we'll add the dex in here for the sluggish monk. That'd be 14 for the zippy one, and 6 for the sluggish one. When the hero is a sluggish monk, or a zippy monk, Zippy the monk. Wise and zippy monk. Then, and when the hero is a wise and sluggish monk. Man, the storms. Once the tornado threat's gone, you just have the storm. It's such a they're so delightful sometimes, you know. I miss the when I was a kid growing up, we'd sit on the front porch and watch the storms rolling across the fields. So much fun. Okay, yeah, those would cancel out to 10. Okay, so that covers these 3 scenarios. Let's make sure they're passing. That is not passing. That's because I didn't make him a monk. Defender class is monk. Yep, okay, so I need that for all of them. Because we are talking about monks here. There. And looks like I've got... Oh. Looks like I stepped on something there. Got a syntax error. There we go. Now they all pass. Much better, much better. Okay, so we've got Wise Monk. That's been done. Now we need to do the Foolish Monk. In those same permutations. So copy pasta here. When the hero is a foolish old monk. Copy pasta, copy pasta, copy pasta. So, if they're a foolish monk, wisdom is 6, that will not be taken away from their armor class. So the idea is they only get the bonus, they don't get the penalty. And the same thing here, foolish but dexterous monk, and a foolish and clumsy monk. This should still be a 12. This should go down to an 8. And those pass. We now have monk taken care of. So we've refactored these tests to make them a little more templated, I guess you could say. So now we can add the scenario of attackers. But actually, I think what we need to do first is we need to do the refactor that allows us to pass in, to make this a function at the very least. I think that's what we need to do next. So let's call armor class. No, not like that. There's the call to armor class, and then we'll pass in data dot attacker class. Actually, we don't want to pass in the attacker's class. We want to pass in the attacker. And so this is going to be new hero. Not new HTML table row element. What the hell's wrong with you, Visual Studio Code? We'll just create a new hero each time. That'll be fine. Will that create a new one each time? That may not. But I don't, because then we'll want to modify it. We'll modify it by creating a new one, though. No, let's not do that. Let's pass in the class. And what we need to do here is say, let attacker equal new hero, and attacker dot class equals data dot attacker class. We'll do it like that. So we'll create the hero that we need. We'll create the aggressor, and then there's the defender class goes there, dexwiz, and then we can pass in attacker right here. And this is long enough. I kind of want to say let actual equal this. So we'll assign the actual armor class to a little variable here. We'll say let expected equal data.ac, and then we can say expect actual to be, I don't, that's clear enough. And now this is going to, subject to armor class is not a function. This doesn't work, right? This sort of just breaks stuff. But that's okay. Let's go ahead and modify hero. And I know modifying hero is going to break stuff too. So when we go to armor class, let's create an armor class function. And it's going to take, as an argument, let's make it one of these fancy arrow functions. Attacker. And it's going to delegate that to this dot underscore arm AC dot value. And that's not going to work at all because it has exactly the same problem. This is just delegating. So we'll say this to armor class value versus no. Value and then pass an attacker. That'll do for now. We'll see what that looks like, and then maybe we don't like it, maybe we do like it. We'll find out, right? So it's interesting that the ones down here turned green, but this one didn't. I don't exactly know why that is. Oh, I know why it is. Because it's in use. Now it's complaining the hero armor class. It's complaining of the same thing. So if we go up to hero armor class here and pass in value is no longer that. It's just going to be value attacker. Value equals attacker. And then call this function, which is then just going to return that. That should... Now attack spec is broken. So I expected that. So let's pend attack spec for now. And see if the other tests pass. They do. Good. Okay, let's unpend attack. And well, let's fix attack. Okay, well, here's my attack.js. And so this doesn't really do much with armor class. Here we're saying is hit this dot attacker dot attack modifier versus this dot defender armor class. Yeah, it's too soon to do this actually. Yeah, it's too soon to fix attack. So I'm going to append those. And the reason I say that is because as soon as I do that, I then have to go and hit down here in attack spec, or in the attack class. I've got the rule here, right, for the rogues. And I need to get that rule into the other thing. That needs to be my next step. This rule here on line 41 needs to be pushed into the armor class, the hero armor class. And I need to do that while I have a running test suite. So if I append the attack spec so that they don't run for the time being, I can then go ahead and make that change. I can add the tests I need to do that. Then I can come back here and then remove the dead code, or the unused code. And then I'll have a failing test. And then I can fix that failing test to then have attack work correctly. That's the thought. We'll see how that goes. Okay, so back to hero armor class spec. And we need to add the rogue rule. When the hero is a foolish and sluggish monk. Okay, so we need to add the when the attacker is a rogue, and the hero is zippy, so the defender class we don't care about. The attacker class is rogue. And the hero, we want them to be zippy, so we'll give them armor class of 14. We don't care about wisdom. Then their armor class is effectively, the dexterity bonus is ignored, and so that drops them to a 10. This would normally be 12, but against the rogue it would be 10. Just adding a little extra space there. There we go. When attacker is a rogue and the hero is Zippius Maximus. That test passes because it's going to calculate it to be 12. So let's make that test pass. So that, let's close some other things here. We got too much stuff open. Let's go to hero armor class, and we can say if attacker dot class equals rogue. Then I guess we return what would it be? It'd be this dot I'm trying not to do all of it at once. So the thing here is I could just do the get minus dex, like, and that'll make it pass, right? I say that. Needs a return. And that'll work. But there's a lot of rules that are being summed up by that. And I ultimately, I don't... I kind of don't want either of these functions in here. But let's leave it there for the moment. Let's go and take a look at our... at our test here, because the other scenario here we have, the scenario that I'm sort of dancing around and that I don't want to implement too quickly, but I already have, is when the attacker is a rogue and the hero is sluggish. In that scenario, there we go. Boogity, 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 boogity. When they have a penalty to their armor class, then their armor class, the dexterity is still included, right? So we expect that to be an 8. So the rogue can negate the bonus, but they can't negate the penalty. That wouldn't make sense. That means that attacking rogues attacking clumsy people would be harder, which wouldn't be the case at all. So it's saying I've got a let actual equals subject to armor class attacker. That's not the error I was expecting. Expected 8 received function value. Okay. That's wrong. That's completely wrong. How are we getting a function value back from that? Return this dot minus dex. If the class is monk, plus this plus wisdom, otherwise just base plus dex. That is not. That doesn't make any sense. What the hell's going on? Does anyone else see it? Why am I getting a function back? In what universe does that make any sense? So minus dex. If this dot dexterity modifier is less than 0, return this dot value. That's why. Because I'm returning a function. Okay, so this it should be this dot value, but I don't want to call this dot value. Okay, if the dexterity modifier is less than 0, so if it's negative, it's base AC. So we can say this dot base plus dex. That'll do it. It's still clunky, and I want to come in and refactor this, but I don't want to refactor it yet because I want to get my tests, my full suite of tests around it. Because I feel like it's a little the refactors. It's a little too soon for the refactor, right? If we go in and refactor this now, and then we add the monk rule, the monk rogue interaction, then it gets messier. And I'd rather. Actually, you know what? I think I am. I always second guess myself all the time. This is what I do on stream constantly. I'm always second guessing myself. Let's go ahead and refactor it. So if the attacker.class is a rogue, so we got if it's a rogue and a monk, although we don't have that condition yet. If it's a rogue, then it's going to be this calculation right here. So I'm going to inline a bunch of these things and see what we end up with. So if we're a rogue, return this. If we're a monk, if the attacker's a rogue, do this. If we are a monk, our armor class is this. So if this dot class is a monk, turn that. Otherwise, return this. and then base plus dex. Yeah. So the value, okay, so the value here is going to be, if you're a rogue and the dexterity modifier is positive, I feel like the ternaries are making this confusing. So if the attacker.class is a rogue and this .dexterity modifier is greater than 0, then return is less than 0, return that. There we go. If the attacker.class is a rogue and dexterity modifier is greater than 0, and once I can see this, then I think I can refactor it into something that's clean. But I got to kind of see the whole body of it before I can refactor it down. So just massaging this code until it's something that I can be somewhat proud of. So then it would just be base AC. So if it's rogue and you've got a dexterity modifier of, we'll do less than or equal to 0. And then greater than 0. If you're a monk, return base plus dex plus the positive wisdom modifier. Let's one line this guy here. Actually, I think this will just do the trick here. For a monk as well. Now that I'm refactoring it, I don't need the minus dex anymore. So if you're a monk, return base plus dex and your positive wisdom modifier. Yeah. And if this is, and if none of these things are true, then return just base plus dex. Okay, those all pass. That's actually not terrible code. It's a little, the cyclomatic complexity is kind of high, but it kind of just, the nature of what the problem we're solving makes that high. Is there a way I can tidy this up a little bit? So we got base plus dex, we got hero.class. So that does tidy that up a little bit. We got, maybe we could do this. We got the dexterity modifier, which sort of drills down here just to clean things up. We got the positive wisdom modifier. Base armor class is just a constant. We don't need to mess with that. But this here, I'm wondering if we can say, and you can say something like get is or has positive dex mod, and then just return this dexterity mod is greater than 0. Is 0 positive or negative? So if this dot has positive dex mod, and oh, what the hell, let's do has negative dex mod. Less than or equal to. Of course, this condition is the fall through class, right? So we may not need this. I think we might be able to say that. Will that still pass? Yeah, it does. That's better. So if they're a rogue and they have a positive dexterity mod, just give them the base AC. If the attacker's rogue, if the defender is a monk, return this.base plus dex, and add the wisdom modifier. Yeah. So we don't need this. Yeah, this works. Cool. Let's add the monk versus the rogue scenario and see if that passes with this code or not. Because I think that'd be a good next step. When the attacker is a rogue and the hero is a wise old monk. And how many of these permutations do we want? When the attacker is a rogue and the hero is a wise old monk. So we got a wise old monk here. And then we got the zippy monk and the sluggish monk. I feel like we need those permutations too. When there we go. So when come on, guy, you can type. When the attacker is a rogue and the hero is sluggish, when the hero is a wise old monk, when the hero is a wise and zippy monk, when the hero is a wise and sluggish monk. That feels like that's all the permutations. So we've got, okay, hero sluggish. Attacker class is rogue. There. 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 This is getting a little long, isn't it? I think we're going to need to do a carriage return here to make these readable. Okay, so we got a rogue. Hero sluggish. Rogue. Hero's a wise old monk. He's wise. And so the normally wisdom add a +2. That should be a 10 now. So the wisdom is negated. And this scenario, then, the dexterity, this should be a 10 as well, because the wisdom and the dex will be negated. And then here, it would still be a 10 because they're both negated. And then for the other permutation here, let's just put them all in here, is a foolish old monk. No, that's totally not what I wanted to do. Foolish, foolish, foolish. And so then we can make their wisdom, say, 6. Oops. And 6. And 6. So in that case, the wisdom penalty, it should be 10 because the wisdom penalty wouldn't matter. This should all come up 10. Everything's coming up Millhouse. For varying values of Millhouse. In this case, where Millhouse equals 10. And this is not working. It's also very hard to read. So let's do a thing. I think what I want to do is push these down to the next line. Just to try and get it so I can see all the code. Just tab that in. There we go. Watch Guy type boring things on stream. Y'all are great for watching me. I appreciate it. So, just trying to get these things into a place where I can see all the things I'm setting. It's my scenarios. There's a lot of permutations, and I think that's one of the interesting challenges of this exercise. So I'm gonna space these out so I can actually see them. Ooh, more thunder. I'm assuming that the microphone's picking that up. Or do you have no idea what I'm talking about? Okay. So, the monk stuff isn't working. When the attacker is the rogue and the hero is a wise old monk. That is not doing what we want. Oh, you don't hear anything? Okay. Well, my mic was working really well then because I'm like, it's booming through my headphones. I kind of wish that I could, you all could hear the thunder. It makes it more dramatic. It's like I'm coding in the dark. It was a dark and stormy night. You know, it's like I'm doing something dramatic. Really, I'm just coding Dungeons and Dragons because it's fun. Okay, so if there are rogue, okay, so this isn't passing now. My tests are failing in the way I think they should. The wise old monk should have an armor class of 10, and we're getting a 12. And so if the attacker's a rogue and has a positive dexterity mod, return this. I think what we actually really need to do is saying if the attacker is a rogue, it's pretty much return the base AC. Let's invert this and say has. Yeah. Did you hear that one? That one was really loud. Let's do the combination. If attacker dot class is rogue and this dot class is monk, that's a path. If the attacker class is rogue, that's one scenario. If it's a monk, that's a scenario. If the attacker class is a rogue and it's a monk, and this is going to be return base AC. yeah, we had tornadoes coming through earlier, but now it's just a fantastic thunderstorm with gusts of up to 60 miles per hour. That's what the weather person said. I'm in the house. All I hear is the noise. Yeah, I know, right? Exciting Midwestern weather. Yeah. This is a gnarly rule that I've put into this kata here. I basically want to say let AC equal base AC, and then say if this dot dexterity modifier is less than 0, and then say AC plus equals this dot dexterity modifier. And then I can say if this dot wisdom modifier Okay, so well, I think that's actually it, isn't it? Is that enough to? Is that gonna make it pass? This is hideous code. I'm so unproud of this. Actually, this dot class is defined here on line 24 as to just call this dot underscore hero dot class because I got tired of typing this dot underscore hero dot class. So, good catch though. That means you're paying attention. It got further into it when attacker is a rogue and the hero is wise and sluggish monk. It seems apropos that I'm chatting with you, Vorpal Thunder, since that is all I'm hearing. Okay. So, yeah, this is actually really kind of gnarly because I need to say, armor class is just base plus dex, unless you're being attacked by rogue, and then it goes away. You don't get the dex. And then if you're a monk, you also lose your wisdom bonus. And I actually would have thought, I would think this would work. So let's create even more convoluted if statements and see if we can make this do the thing we want. So we'll say let AC equals base AC. So we're gonna build it up. And we'll just have all the armor class thingies modified. So if it's a rogue that's attacking, then and if this dot class is monk, then if it's a rogue, add in the dexterity modifier or penalty. So that's always true. So here we're saying if this dexterity modifier is less than 0, armor class is going to you're going to tack on the dexterity modifier, which would be a penalty to that dexterity, which is kind of the same thing as saying AC equals AC plus math dots max min 0 comma this dot dexterity modifier. I think I like that a little bit better. We'll do plus equals not like that. So either add 0 or add the dexterity penalty. Then if it's a monk, AC is going to be actually the wisdom just goes away because it's always positive. So so there, and then else, there we go. There's our else. Because that just else if class is a monk, AC plus equals this dot positive wisdom modifier. I think that'll work. God damn it. Why you no worky? Are my tests broken? Let's look at my tests. Make sure I'm thinking the right thing. The wisdom penalty just gets negated if the rogue is attacking. Or the bonus. And there's never a wisdom penalty. Okay, so wise old monk, wisdom of 14, just is going to have an armor class of 10. Which test is failing here? I should probably... Oh, it looks like 8 of them are failing. Let's find the first one. Really? That one's failing? That can't be right. Let's quit this. Clear. Run it again. Just so I can see what's going on. Include dexterity modifier when hero is zippy. Okay, so... else... AC equals... Yeah, so we got the condition of if they're not a rogue and if they're not a monk. If the attacker... hang on. Else AC plus equals this... I don't think this is going to work. Dexterity modifier. Less failed. This is what's happening is that I'll add the dexterity modifier back in for the rogue. Will it? No, it won't. Well, and then this just returns into base AC plus that, right? If I can do that syntactically correct. And then monk is this dot be return base AC plus these two things. Else return base AC plus dexterity modifier. Turns out return is not all uppercase. Crazy that. I did save the file. Yeah, thank you for checking that. So this should be all I need here. Right? That's the simplified version of it. So let's look and see which two are failing. When an attacker is a rogue and the hero is a foolish and sluggish monk. I think I have a flaw in my test. Yeah, my test is wrong. That would do it. When the attacker's rogue is hero is a foolish old monk, a sluggish monk would still have the penalty, so that would be an 8. So my test is flawed. And now I should have... I got one failing. And here's the wise and sluggish monk. That would be an 8 as well. And the reason that would be an 8 is because the dexterity penalty would apply, but the wisdom bonus would not. So, hey, turns out if I write the right test for the thing I'm implementing, they'll pass. Okay, that's better. Yep. Yeah, well, you know, the code was fine. The developer was an idiot, right? Isn't that how that usually works? First try, that's right. Yeah. Well, you know, if you don't find yourself saying I'm an idiot when you code, then you're probably doing it wrong. I'm going to say that's my professional opinion. Okay, so that's working. That's much better. And that covers a lot of permutations. Get a sip of this root beer here. So now that we have that doing what I want, where the hell were we? We were in the process of... Hey, we put the rogue rule in there. That was what we were doing. Which now means the attack spec can be... Well, it can do two things. First, I'm going to delete some code, because we don't need Dexless armor class anymore. The need for that has gone away. And then our hero armor class is arguably simpler. Don't need the has positive dex mod. Don't have that. I need the class, I need the dexterity modifier, I need the positive wisdom modifier. Actually, I'm going to do one small refactor. I'm going to do the get negative dexterity modifier. And that's just going to be return that value there. So that's going to return 0. Yeah, and that also passes through. Oh, thanks for the follow. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Your name went by quick. I didn't. Seginaldo? Seginaldo? I don't know if that's Spanish or not. It doesn't look Spanish. The J and the I next to each other make me think it looks like Dutch, but they'd be flipped if it was Dutch. But anyhow, thank you very much for the follow. It's always appreciated. Howdy. Okay, so that's a minor thing that I cleaned up there, but oh, it's nonsense. CJ. Okay. Okay. The only thing I ever get with my name is, since my name's Guy, sometimes people wonder if my name is Guy or not. They wonder if I'm French. Or if I'm in Europe, they'll sometimes assume it's Guy, even when it's obvious I'm an American, which is kind of funny. I mean, that doesn't happen in the UK, but, you know, it's happened to me, of course, in France and in Belgium, which is kind of funny. So anyhow, CJ, welcome to the stream. As I sit here and I befuddledly code. I'm in the process of making this hero armor class better. I'm refactoring away from getter setters and towards functions that take values, because I need to pass in extra data into like armor class here. TDD is test-driven development. So the idea here is that I'll write my test, and then I write code to make it pass. And then once it's passing, I refactor my crappy code. And then I write another test that describes another behavior of the system. I make that test pass, and then I take what I refactor my crappy code again, and lather, rinse, repeat. That's the idea. If I was pair programming, we would take turns, writing tests and making things pass. And then every now and then you hit a point where you're like, I need to make a refactor because I know what I need to do next. And I'm in that phase right now where I'm refactoring. I refactored some of my tests so I could make codes, changes. And I've got one of my specs appended right now because it won't pass because it uses the thing that I was modifying the public interface on. And so and now it's all complaining. So if I go to my attack spec, I have this rule in attack right here on line 41 that was basically, if you're being attacked by a rogue, they ignore your dexterity. And I decided that should be handled inside of the hero instead. And so that resulted in me in a bunch of refactors. Oh, really? Nightbot is a... I may need to. This is, Nightbot has so far only censored people that were trying to do something that was totally something I'd want them to do. I may need to go in and tweak my Nightbot settings to be a little less aggressive. I'm not going to do that on stream, but I'll do that afterwards. So so in here, you've got this line here that I want to go away, and actually this whole function will probably just go away. Because I won't need it anymore. And so I need to get rid of my spec first. So in the spec here, I say when the attacker is a rogue. These rules are now being handled somewhere else, and they do not need to be part of the attack class. So all of this goes away. I no longer needed to do those things. Hero does that. And then this is failing because I've got functions that I'm calling that are undefined. So this.defend armor class. Instead, what I need to do is I can get rid of that. Call defender armor class. That should make it pass. That did not do what I thought it would do. That gave... Hang on. Am I just scrolled up to the top and they all passed? No, I'm not. Wow, a lot of them failed. Can I read property class of undefined? Oh. There we go. This underscore attacker. There we go. Now they all pass. And I don't really necessarily feel like I need a little helper function for this because I'm only doing it in one place. So I'm just going to move this up here. Get rid of the return. Get rid of that little dude there. And I have now it does the thing I want. Hopefully, wow, I may have, I may need to tweak my Nightbot settings. It's spammed out my links twice now. I thought it was only set to be like every 15 minutes, but maybe 15 minutes goes by pretty quick. Cool. Okay, so I'm finally done with the refactor. Let's add a new terminal so I can commit this code to GitHub and get it up there. Git status, git add dot, git commit dash m. Attacker or armor class is now calculated for attack, calculated versus attacker. Git push. And it's out there on Git. And if anyone wants to code along or follow along or play along, the repo's out there on GitHub. You just do bang git and you'll see it there. Cool. Okay, let's look at the requirements. So now that I've made this one feature here work differently, but also impacted this feature here, let's go back to Paladin. Paladin has 8 hit points per level instead of 5, and has a +2 to attack and damage when attacking evil characters. And so this is very similar to the thing I just changed. The attack modifier, the attack damage, and then the crit modifier, it does triple damage when critting against them, all need to change their behavior for paladins when the defender is evil. And so this is going to use a very similar mechanism to the other things. I don't really want to sit through and do a permutation of the same refactor that I just did. And so I'm going to jump and hit a couple of these other requirements here and come back to these a little bit later. I started my stream about 6:30. I've been doing it for about an hour 15. I'm going to wrap this up around 8:30 at the latest. So I don't know if I'll get... I'm going to try and get Paladin done tonight. We'll see. Let's do can only have a good alignment. That feels like a nice light bit of code. So we have hero alignment. And we have hero class. And if we go to the hero class spec and the hero alignment spec, they both restrict this. So in the hero class, we say the class defaults to none. Yeah, it's Verbal Thunder. It becomes a little bit of a... For me, I've been doing this for about a decade, so it's muscle memory for me, the whole TDD cycle. But even sometimes I get to this point where it's just like, I need to work through the code sometimes to figure out what I want, how it's going to work. Like if I'm working on something brand new, like a kata that I'm not familiar with, sometimes I need to vomit out some code to get a feel for what it's like. And then the proper thing to do would be to throw it all away and then start over now that I know what direction I want. I find that I don't usually do that because I don't want to throw it away because I don't want to waste my effort. And so there's still, I've been doing it for over a decade, and there's still times when my behavior is bad. So I don't feel bad if it's a little uncomfortable sometimes. I think that's normal. So here, hero's class defaults to none, and here's the things it can be. Cannot be invalid. When hero is good, it cannot be a rogue. And paladins, I think, can only be good. So we can do the scenario of when hero is neutral, monks can be neutral, rogues can be neutral. Paladins cannot. Cannot be a paladin. They are a lawful goody two-shoes. Did I spell paladin right there? I tend to spell it wrong. Let's say it is spelled correctly. Paladins must be good. Be good, Paladin. All good. That's right. And let's go and look at the tests. They're still running here. And that failed. Paladin must be good is a thing that should be thrown. So let's look at, I know that I did this in Validator for validate class and alignment. So if it's, because in the hero class, we call validate class and alignment to say, to check for these scenarios. So we should be able to say, that'll throw that. If class equals Paladin, that's definitely not how you spell Paladin. And alignment is not equal to good. Paladins must be good. Yeah, that's not what it's supposed to do at all. Oh, that's annoying. So what's happening here is all my other tests that do things, where I'm testing like the Paladin's hit points, are when I set it to a Paladin, are complaining that the Paladin is not good rather than setting the hit points. So, so I've got my hit point spec is failing because the alignment is wrong. That's really annoying. Subject dot class is that, and so if so what would probably make this work is say subject dot alignment equals good, because I don't really care what their alignment is here, but that needs to happen first. That is a weird side effect in a test. And then now I've got a typo in I made a spelling mistake. So it's Paladins must be good. And I got one failing last bit. Hero class spec. Wait. What line is that failing on? Let's quit it and rerun it. One hero is neutral. Which one's failing here? Oh, this one here is failing because Paladins have to be good. That's a little clunky. I don't like how that's infecting my tests. And now it's saying rogues can't be good. God, this is annoying. Damned if you do and damned if you don't. Actually, I don't need, so I'm testing the class. I don't need these tests here. because the alignments are sort of validating them. I'm doing each of these alignment patterns in here, and so that's taking care of it for me. Yeah, that works. So I don't need to go through. I'm testing each class for alignment anyhow. So when a hero is good, it can be these things. It can't be that thing. When a hero is neutral, it can be these things. It can't be that other thing. Yeah, that works. That covers all my permutations. When a hero is evil, yeah. It cannot be a paladin. I think that's still true. The rest of them it can be. There we go. So this then this tests all the classes. You can set all the classes. It tests all the alignment permutations. Good. For hero. The hero alignment spec is the opposite. It defaults to neutral. It cannot be an invalid alignment. When a hero is a rogue, it cannot be good, but it can be neutral and evil. When a hero is a paladin, you got that same problem where if we set paladin, these things default to neutral. It's the same pattern that we're running into before. So it defaults to neutral. It can be good, neutral, evil if they have a class of none. Cannot be an invalid alignment. When the hero is a rogue, it cannot be good. When a hero is a paladin, you need to say subject dot alignment is equal to good. It cannot be neutral, evil. And we'll say expect, setting that to arrow function here. To throw paladins must be good. And then here we say expect, yeah. Set that to good. Shockingly, the setter works. That's sort of. There we go. We got a good paladin. Okay, so neutral. And so the alignment defaults to neutral and defaults to none. Okay. That's working. Cool. So we've marked off that requirement. Can only have a good alignment. I had one thing where the hit points were really wonky. That bugs the hell out of me. Right? It's the alignment is coming in there because of Paladin. And if we were doing Rogue, it would get in the way as well. I almost I've got this little make level helper function. I almost want to do a make class. Yeah, let's do that. So where's my spec helper? There's my spec helper. Copy that. Just as a little reference, say global dot make class equals hero class. And we'll say subject dot class is equal to class. But before we do that, we'll say if class is equal to Paladin, hero dot alignment equals good. And if class equals rogue, then hero dot alignment equals neutral. There we go. And then on my test, my hit points test, instead of saying subject class, I can say make class subject comma data class. And my little spec helper needs to do a return. Does it? Subject is not defined. Hero. Needs to be hero. Hero.class. That broke a lot of things in a way that I wasn't expecting. Expect the 10, receive 5. Oh. Class. There we go. Actually set the class correctly. Not class, class. Okay. And now we got a little helper function that we actually can use that in a lot of our things. In fact, we could use that in, I think the armor class specs did something along those lines too, didn't it? Yeah. Although it doesn't really matter in this particular case because let's use it though. Let's say call make class attacker comma data dot attacker class, and then make class subject data dot defender class. There we go. Just in case we do some we got a helper function, let's use it, right? Cool. Let's commit that. Git add dot git commit dash m make class global helper for alignment issues with Paladin. This is such a, you know, it's exactly what Paladin should be doing, which is making the game more difficult for everyone else who's playing. Isn't that how Paladins work in Dungeons and Dragons? Just making everything harder. No, 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 you must do this particular way. Okay. What do we got next? Got good alignment. Attack roll is increased by 1 for every level instead of every other level. That's easy. We'll look at attack modifier, and then we'll close all the others, and we'll look at attack modifier spec. And they just progress like fighters. So defaults to 1 for fighters, goes up every level for fighters, goes up for strong, high-level fighters. And that'll be, we'll just take those permutations. Defaults to 1 for paladins. Set the class to paladin. And then run the test, watch it fail. Watch all 3 of them fail. But making this do what we want is actually quite easy. We just say paladin, we add paladin to here. And they got an attack progression of 1. And then we need to add the attack ability as well here. So paladin needs to be strength. And that should totally work. And it totally doesn't. And I totally don't know why. So Paladin's got attack modifier +1 at first level. Goes up every level. So 3rd level should be +3. 4th level should be +4. And then +2 for the strength. That should work. Did I not save a file or something? Did I miss a comma? Paladins must be good. Make class subject, comma, data.class. I knew this function would come in handy. There we go. Now it's working. I love it when a plan comes together. Okay. I don't need to save the web page there. +2 to attack and damage when attacking evil characters. Does triple damage when critting on an evil character. And so this is going to be my attack modifier and my attack damage and my critical damage all need to change in that same way that I changed my armor class. Which means that once again, that's going to impact the attack.js because it's going to get the attack. There's the attacker defender, is hit, is critical, apply damage, apply experience. And apply damage is if it's a crit, it's going to say get the critical damage. And we need to pass in here who we're hitting. And we need to pass in here who we're attacking. And then up here, we need to pass in who the defender is. So to make the attack modifier and the damage changes that we need to check to see if they're evil or not, right? Let's well, why is that red? Oh, there we go. And so I'm going to go in and go to the attack spec. I'm going to append this thing so that it doesn't run. And then I'm going to make the changes to attack damage, attack modifier, and those 2 classes. So here's attack damage, here's attack modifier. So that instead of the value being a getter, it's now a function. And the same thing for here. We got the normal and the critical. These need to be functions, not properties. So, yeah. So let's get rid of, yeah, let's do that. So we'll look at the, there's the attack damage spec, and then the attack modifier spec. Let's do the attack modifier spec easier first, because it'll probably be a little bit easier. Set the strength dex, because we can just change this to not like that, to take the defender. And I did this with armor class as well. Let's take a look at how I implement that in the armor class test. Yeah, I created a new hero to be attacked. So there's our defender this time. And we pass in the defender. And it doesn't like that at all. And then we go to the hero attack modifier, change it to from get value to just an arrow function. This is going to be defender. And now it's passing. We'll do the same thing for, actually, did that just work? I didn't think it would. Let's look at the hero. Because this should now be a function as well. Like that. No return is needed there. So let's get rid of that return. And then we pass in the defender. And that passes too. I'm really surprised that the other one passed. Oh, I know why it passed. That makes sense. Okay, so the reason that passed, when I thought it wouldn't, is because we were returning this dot attack modifier value was a function, and we were just returning the function with a getter, and then we were invoking it, and so it still worked. So that makes sense now. So that's good. There's some reasonableness to it. So that's attack modifier. Let's do attack damage and the attack damage spec. So, okay, so in here, say let subject, let defender. And then in here, we'll say subject equals that. Defender equals new hero. And then everywhere we have attack damage, except that last bit. We'll pass in defender. And that should introduce a whole bunch of errors. We'll do the same thing to critical damage. And the same thing here as well. So we should have a whole bunch of Wow, it's really didn't like something I did here. Unexpected token 10. All the way at the top here. Okay, because I need a curly brace. There we go. We should see a lot of error messages now. It's saying it's not a function, which is fine. So if we go to attack damage here, and we say normal is now equal to an arrow function, which takes defender. And the same thing here. Those. Okay, so there's an attack damage I missed. And my it was on, where is it? Line 41. Yeah, I missed one. There we go. These should all pass now. I'll go ahead and make the change to hero as well, so that it actually is passing through the way we want it to. Equals defender. Thusly. There we go. That should still all pass. And now I've got the plumbing in place where I can start putting the special rules to allow the Paladin stuff to work. However, before I do that, I'm going to get my attack spec unpended and see what it complains about, which will be many, many things. And so here, when we get attack modifier, pass in this dot underscore defender. And we should be doing the same here and the same here. And that should all pass now. Okay, which one's failing here? Attack spec. Expected before received not a number. On line, attack spec line 31. It'd help if I saved my file. When attacker's beefy does more damage on a hit. Okay. So I'm calculating that there. So I guess pass in defender, and that'll... I kind of don't like that now. I mean, that'll make a pass. But it's a little bit of an ugly mirror where I'm sort of reflecting back the code at itself. That all passes. But I think I want to just calculate what the damage should be. So Attacker strength score is 14. Hits with a +2. Misses there. Does more damage. So it should be previous hit points minus. So normally it's 1 point of damage on an attack, +2 for strength. So this should be a 3. I'm gonna compute this instead. That feels like the right thing to do here. And then on a crit, that should be a 6. There we go. Okay. I'm a little happier with that. Cool. Now we've got all the plumbing to do Paladin. And so let's do that. Let's commit my code first. Git add dot git commit -m attack modifier damage, and crit damage is now functions are now functions. Okay. Actually, I'm looking at the clock here, and not sure if I have enough time here to finish. I think I'm going to wrap up, because I've got about 8 minutes left in the stream, and these are going to take way more than 8 minutes. So I'm going to wrap things up, and just thank everyone for joining me on the stream tonight. I'm going to go ahead and make sure all my code... Did I push all my code already? I literally just pushed my code, and I'm asking this question, right? That's what I'm doing. I didn't push my code. I literally committed my code. Let's push my code up there. And yeah, let's call it a day. So everyone has been on stream with me tonight. Thanks a lot. I'm looking at my viewer count, and it's a little low, so I don't know if it's worthwhile to raid with just one viewer. Does anyone watching have anywhere in particular they'd like to go? I can do a /raid. Oh, wrong keyboard. That's not going to work from there. So yeah, I think I'm just wrapping up here without a raid. So everyone, thanks for coming in, joining me on the stream tonight. I've been doing this every Monday night. We will get through the Evercraft Kata come hell or high water. I'm making further and further progress, a couple hours at a time. It's just a really, really big exercise. It takes a long time to get through, and to get through it well. So if you're working on it, keep at it. It is a lot of fun, but it's big. And just know that it's big going in. And yeah, that's pretty much all I've got for the evening. So thanks a lot for watching, and thanks a lot for all the follows and the, all the follows. Go ahead and join my Discord. I'm going to go ahead and throw that up in chat here really quick, so that it'll show up here. Hey, you're very welcome. Yeah, if you're not on my Discord, go ahead and join me on Discord. I've got a little Discord server. There we go. Nightbutt doesn't show up in the stream, it looks like, but there's the Discord. It's yep, cool. Thank you, Vorpal Thunder, and I will see everyone the next time. Bye.